One of the big stories this week, hey, the kids are back in school, right? A lot of parents so happy about that. Get back to those classrooms, right? But we also know that with kids being back in school, a lot of them have cell phones and there could be texting scams and they don't stop. So we want to bring in our guest to talk about it. This is John Haraburda with Transaction Network Services. John, thank you so much for joining us. We truly appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on. And good luck with the rain down there. It looks like a nasty day.
Thank you so much, John. Hey, I want to get your first thoughts about when you hear texting scams. What comes to mind? What should students know? What should parents know about these?
Well, it's really a matter of buyer beware, right? When you have unsolicited messages coming to you, phone calls as well, just be aware that you don't want to give out personal information. So the issues we've been seeing are AI voice generation or calls for fake school announcements, and also some scenarios of looking for funds, right? So maybe you qualified for a scholarship, maybe you're looking for a PTA fee, those types of things where they solicit to you. That's where you need to be a little bit careful.
About some of these different deals and things, because obviously everybody's
Exactly,
trying to look for a deal.
because
Everything's a little bit more expensive. What would
yeah,
something
and
like this
usually,
look like?
yeah, and usually it's something where it you need to act today. There's an immediate issue, there's immediate concern. If you don't click this link, you're not going to get this deal, right, or get approved for this scholarship. So that sense of urgency, that trigger, and especially be aware of the hyperlinks in a text message as well as the QR codes, right, that are sometimes sent out as images. And when you scan that, thanks to the value and the use and the ease of AI, you're able to go to manipulated websites that may look and smell and feel like the real site, but they're not. And that's where they have to beware, both the student and the parent. So this is where going to the site directly, you probably already have a logon ID to the environment. Go to those, prearranged, pre-set up setups that you have to be able to do that transaction more securely.
This is such good information, not just for back to school, but we see these scams pop up in several industries. Of course, we are focusing on school. Now, if somebody does receive something like this, maybe it looks like a link from a trusted source, what should they do?
Well, they can go into it, but one of the things to be aware is if you go in and try to log on and you give out your credentials, then they have your credentials, so they can go to the legitimate site and take over your account and your identity. So when you get these prompts, again, probably go to the direct website itself. Type in the URL yourself of, www, whatever the .edu is for the school systems, et cetera. And do that directly. Call the phone numbers directly. You know the main office of the kids' schools that they go to, right? Use those legitimate sources to be able to use it. Maybe have that incoming text or phone call as a trigger to then make a connection via legitimate and known source to reach out to that party.
Everyone is watching this interview right now. Nobody should make this mistake. However, there might be a couple people who miss it. What happens if someone does click that link? They do give away their information and now they're a victim
Yeah.
of this scammer. What should they do?
So, there's a couple options, right? So one obviously is you can go into those sites that you do connect with, change your credentials, right? That's a simple, user protection thing to do. The other thing I've been saying is that the industry has been working fairly hard together. So state attorney generals have actually been working across the country together to go find and prosecute these people who are generating this bad traffic. So the folks that are calling your parents and students in Atlanta are probably making phone calls from Florida or Oregon or Iowa or California. And what happens is that the law offices and sheriffs in Georgia have to find partnerships. So now those attorney generals are working across state boundaries to be able to do that, which is really helpful and really help to identify those parties and stop them from making calls and even working at the federal level to take their licenses away from making activity and generating traffic.
Now, I have a question that's a little off script, and I wonder if you can ask or answer it because it happened to me. Thankfully, I caught it in time, but somebody tried phishing me with a interview attempt, and it looked
Yes,
legitimate. Turns out
yes,
this was somebody from out of country. And I tried to, go, I'm going to report you. And the person emailed me back, good luck. Because I guess that
exactly,
they were so
exactly.
confident that they're not going to get caught. What about bad actors from outside of the U.S.
No, you see that we've seen one recently too, right? Of looking at toll spam, right? Or you're saying you've missed a fine, you have to go up to the registrar's office of your town or city and come pay today. So what happens with those actually is, again, the telecom companies are working together to find out how that traffic's being originated. And so that foreign entity is actually getting prevented by the FCC and other federal bodies from being able to generate traffic and deliver it into the US. So that's all, unfortunately, that's a perspective of that takes a little bit of time to do. So some of the easier things is if you find scenarios like that, there's the ability on Apple devices for iOS to swipe left to report a number as a bad text or a bad spam phone call. There's also, very depending on who your service provider is, there's ability of providing crowdsource information. So the knowledge that you've obtained from this can be shared with the broader community and help other people in your neighborhood so we can identify that traffic and and label it properly as potential spam so that even when you get the next call, that's now identified to give you that warning label.
Village, and we're so grateful when people report, so hopefully it doesn't happen to anyone else. John, we want to thank you so much for your time. Before I let you go, anything that I didn't ask you, any advice that you want to give to students and parents as they get ready, some of them already in
Right.
school, navigating this new school year?
Well, I'd say be careful. We did a quick study for Atlanta specifically, and we've seen a doubling of spam traffic and text in the past month between June and July. And some of the ones that were interesting was we were seeing fake grants and scholarship notifications going out. So that's a scenario where you may have a real sense of urgency of you might get to go to a charter school or have some special program you're on, sports team that you're on, you have to pay a fee. You think you're going to miss it and you'll be kicked off the team or not get to that school. So they use, again, it's that sense of urgency that they're trying to get the parent or the child to say, oh my gosh, I have to push this button and make this connected to the website and make that payment online. And that's where they need to be able to just take a moment, take that a different path, right, and contact them legitimately.
And you took the words right out of my mouth. Take a moment, breathe, think, don't act right away. Do a double check, pick up the phone, email, because look, if you made the sports team, they
Yeah,
want you. You're good. They'll probably
exactly.
wait a couple extra hours for you to get them that money or
And
anything
if
that you need.
And if you feel uncomfortable, it's not rude to hang up a phone call that you think is spam, right? So don't be afraid of doing that. Protect
That's
yourself.
right. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on with us. We truly appreciate the time. For those of you watching, please share this interview. We'll be posting it to 11alive.com so that your friends, family, people do not get scammed.